my heart and soul was actually leading me to do things with technology, but my parents were kind of driving me to become a physician.
I think it's a journey that your soul comes with that hey, you gotta like go away somewhere and then find yourself.
I would like figure out ways, like I'd lie to my dad and be like, my stomach hurts, and I would go to the bathroom and I would lay down in the bathroom. I would take a nap there for like 45 minutes. And so while I was growing up, all my friends started getting married, at a very young age. And so that made me feel like, maybe I need to, go ahead and like be with somebody, because everybody around me is becoming with somebody or being with somebody. And it's crazy, but either it's consciously or really subconsciously, you get influenced from the environment that you're around. And so if everyone around you is with somebody, you almost feel like, I need to be with somebody too. Should I be getting married? I'm 25, 26 years old. Is something wrong that I'm not wanting to get married?
The journey of the black sheep is a hard journey, but you're here to empower. Like I feel like we're all here to make an impact. Like think of the biggest like influencers back in the day that made movements because of their critical thinking, because they stood up for something that was right.
I can't stress how I started feeling that way because of what society was like telling me, that something is wrong with me. And then you start believing that. You literally start believing that. I'm on my own path. My path isn't like my friend's path. My path isn't like my parents' path. It's my path. And I own my path. And I'm going to take my path as high as it possibly can go. You're not lost. You're in a process of finding out who you are.
Hey guys, it's your girl, Michelle Latour, and I have my two amazing co-hosts. Time to introduce
Sharma. What's going on, guys? No, what's going on, man? Pleasure to be here, and really excited about today's topic.
How you doing, everyone? I'm Kevin Drummond, and I'm happy to be on the No Place Like Home podcast.
I like what you did.
So you guys, this topic is fire. The topic is, and we're all kind of wearing it, black sheep.
Black sheep looks different in each family, but in my family, my parents loved me. It's just they showed their love in ways that, that they were used to. And so growing up, they were very strict, and it was all about making sure I had the right grades, making sure on the weekends, instead of like playing with my friends, I would be upstairs like studying for the SATs. My dad would be watching me, those types of habits. I know it's crazy. Like I'm not talking about it right now. And then what would I do? I would like figure out ways, like I'd lie to my dad and be like, my stomach hurts, and I would go to the bathroom and I would lay down in the bathroom. I would take a nap there for like 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Like this is I wasn't fitting the mold of like what they were expecting. And then how that starts getting worse is that I'm not getting 4.0s. Then I start feeling like, I'm not good enough. My self-worth goes down. Then my parents didn't want me to have a girlfriend growing up until, I guess in their minds, was of the right age to get married. But of course, I couldn't not want to be around girls. So, around 11th grade, that's when I feel like I had a growth spurt. And, I was able to attract some girls. But that really disappointed my parents. At times, they threatened to kick me out of the house, and I was just going through, a rebellious phase. But as soon as I had a chance to go to college, I went there. But my parents' focus was like, Nick, you have to become a doctor. So imagine for 1 second that the energy that you could spend trying to figure out what you want to do in life was kind of like shielded off for me, and my line of sight was just on becoming a doctor. And so what happens is that, you're able, I'm in this field of like biology, and I'm like, this shit sucks. And, it's not like it was just taking that course wasn't really resonating with me. I knew I wanted to help people. And because I grew up around that, and my heart kind of told me that this is what I need to be a part of. But I didn't want to do it in the way that was typically done, which is like becoming a biology major or a chemistry major and then going to medical school. My mind was like, more attracted to doing, I guess, more conceptual things, more process things. So I actually ended up majoring in information systems. And it's crazy, right? Because now I'm a CEO of a tech company, and you can kind of see how, right? Like how that kind of comes back into play, because my heart and soul was actually leading me to do things with technology, but my parents were kind of driving me to become a physician. And so while I was growing up, all my friends started getting married, at a very young age. And so that made me feel like, maybe I need to, go ahead and like be with somebody, because everybody around me is becoming with somebody, or is being with somebody. And it's crazy, but either it's consciously or really subconsciously, you get influenced from the environment that you're around. And so if everyone around you is with somebody, you almost feel like, I need to be with somebody too. Should I be getting married? I'm 25, 26 years old. Is something wrong that I'm not wanting to get married? And I thought about this process so much, because I started looking at my friends that were getting married, but they didn't seem like they were happy, but they were doing it, like, and I was thinking to myself, how can somebody just get married or do something that internally it doesn't feel like the right thing to do? Like I've had a lot of trouble trying to put that together. I'm not in their minds, so I don't know. But all I knew was that I wasn't ready, and I wasn't going to be forced to do something that my soul was telling me I'm not ready to do.
One thing that the black sheep really does carry, which is I wouldn't say a negative, more of like an empowering, because we all have to kind of heal from the shame that comes from it. And this is the title of "You're a bad girl, you're a bad son, or you're a bad boy." And it generates not only guilt because you start judging others, but it comes with this huge belief that I am bad, which is shame. The journey of the black sheep is a hard journey, but you're here to empower. Like I feel like we're all here to make an impact. Like think of the biggest like influencers back in the day that made movements because of their critical thinking, because they stood up for something that was right, because of their creativity, the ability to go against the grain, like individuality, authenticity is built from those black sheep. So that is us, guys. That is us.
No, I really just wanted to jump in on what you're talking about and feeling like abandonment, because that's exactly what I felt. When, your parents are disappointed in you because you haven't followed a certain track, you're not getting certain grades, when you're not getting married when you're supposed to be getting married, that starts building a lot of resentment inside you. You start looking at your friends, they seem happy in their marriages and their lives, and you're being looked at as a lost soul, because I've heard that a lot of times about myself. I'm not sure if that's happened to y'all, but lost soul, imagine like hearing that and feeling that. What kind of emotions start going through your body? Just think about that for 1 second. A lot of shame, like you said, guilt, anger. What's wrong with me? I can't, stress how I started feeling that way because of what society was like telling me, that there's something is wrong with me. And then you start believing that. You literally start believing that. And then what do? You're in a lot of emotional pain, right? Remember, energy equals thoughts plus emotions. So imagine what energy level you're in when your thoughts have now, because of the environment, become very negative, and then it's tied to things like guilt and shame. Your energy drops. You become very low vibrational. And so what do you do in these like low vibrational states? You'll want to escape pain as much as you possibly can, whether that's with working, whether that's doing drugs, whether that's doing alcohol, whether that's having codependent polyamorous relationships, whether that's gambling, because you don't have the right foundation when you're in that lower vibrational state. And that cycle, and I call it a really karmic cycle, lasts for years. Once you're in this state, and especially if you're the black sheep, you're just in this karmic cycle of like, negative loop pattern of doing the same thing again and again, because again, then you start getting addicted to those emotions and being in that state and understanding that, hey, I can't really hang around my married friends because now they have kids. So I start getting a little isolated and I need to do other things, to, help make me feel better. And those things end up being really toxic for us, right? So it's a really difficult journey. But, for those out there that are listening that resonate with this, you're not lost. You're in a process of finding out who you are. And I think the best thing that happened to me was that, I went to a place where I felt burnt out, but it was that I found a community of people who were like me and in situations where they also felt like, they were lost or they were trying to find out who they were, and they were authentic, and when you start being around people who are vulnerable and authentic and, have been through similar situations and are real about it, that becomes really powerful. That support gives you a foundation for you to flourish and to start growing and self-actualizing and finding emotional fulfillment. And it's just a process to get there.
I think it's a journey that your soul comes with, that hey, you gotta like go away somewhere and then find yourself, because then you attract your soul tribe. And for the viewers out there, like, you guys literally came into my life like a gift, like a little, like, here you go, because we were so aligned. Like, it was just a message in my DMs, and I was just like these people I vibe with, like, you guys understand me, I can be myself. And it's beautiful because I've never experienced that, not even with my family, not even with friends that I've known for like years. So for the people out there that feel alone, right? Because it's a lonely path first, because you got to work on some stuff, you got to do some healing work. Literally, the universe will do its thing. Like, you will attract your own soul tribe as long as you're doing that work.
And it's important that you mentioned that healing aspect, because I feel like black sheep are very sensitive individuals, and because they're sensitive, they tend to conform because they don't really like too much any kind of altercations. They like to kind of keep the peace. And so that's why these individuals are actually very creative. They're artistic. And when you start focusing on healing and looking at the dark aspects of you, you start bringing light to that darkness. And when you bring light to that darkness, you start inspiring others to do the same. So understand that if you're a black sheep, you have a calling, and it's about you shining that light in that darkness, and then using that to bring some light throughout the world and to inspire others through your healing process. Because for me, like, creating this company, AlignUs, doing these podcasts, this is extremely healing for me. And it's because of going through all the events that I went through in life that I was able to have this realization, this awakening, and to be like, you know what? I'm on my own path. My path isn't like my friend's path. My path isn't like my parents' path. It's my path. And I own my path, and I'm gonna take my path as high as it possibly can go. And F all y'all, you know what I mean? Like, I got, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, it's a very powerful thing. Like, when you've been selected for your journey, you own it and you go with that flow.
So you guys, I think it's a wrap for this episode. And I think one thing I want to ask you is, whoever's viewing this, ask yourself, what are some aspects of yourself that you're holding back, that you're not accepting, or that you are not able to embrace authentically? And if you need some more help, check out the link down there. I have a authentic 30-day transformational journal that's really going to help you out. So thank you guys for being here. It was a great energy. I just feel it. I love you guys.
Peace.
Bye, everyone.